Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Space Program's .24 edition. So last time, if you were with us, we had a very nice moon landing, a double moon landing, and we actually were able to have enough fuel to get back to Kerbin and relatively close to this space center. I think we were only a couple kilometers out to sea over there, so we managed to get about 80% of our money back from all those fuels and spent stages that we kept and were able to keep. And we also managed to get a lot of science, 713 science, and we did manage to get a lot of money, 331,000 now that we have all in total, with a nice reputation. It's getting closer to 100 every single time. I did go into the contract thing, and I found out that there's plant flag on the moon, which we totally could have grabbed and done that, because we totally did do that on the moon. And it's kind of upsetting, because I feel like if you did that thing already, you should automatically get the contract, even if you hadn't accepted it, because it's like, now I feel like, great, now I have to do that mission again, go plant the flag on the moon, just to get, I don't know, was it 18,000? I mean, maybe it's not even worth it, who knows. Got a couple more, and this one too, science data from space around the moon, which we totally did already. But I guess, at some point, if I'm feeling low on cash, I can just grab a bunch of these, go out to the moon one more time, and rack up all that cash. I probably won't record it. That'd be like a last minute, if we're desperate. But we got a couple new ones here that Explorer Duna is the next one that popped up, and the total amount of money you get for that is 262,500 plus all this cash up here for these little different parts of it. But that's very exciting, and we're definitely going to go there at some point. I think what we're going to do, though, first is plan a little trip out to Minmus. That's going to be the next little mini-series that we do. And what we're going to do there is hop around all the different biomes and try to farm the hell out of all the science that is just waiting there on the surface of Minmus. And of course we got some other ones. Explore Ike, we can totally do that at some point. We can probably do the Duna and Ike one together, since they're so close to each other. But let's take a look at the Explore Minmus contract. It wants us to, well, it's prestige exceptional. It wants us to get an orbit around Minmus, simple. Get some scientific data from space around Minmus, we can totally do that too. Land on Minmus, and get science from the surface of Minmus. And if we do all that, we get a nice 164,000 Kerbal credits, I guess we'll call those. Kerbal credits, why not? Okay, so let's take that contract. I don't think it ever expires. Oh, hey. And again, I'm fairly certain we've done this a million times. Get data from around Kerbin. We'll have to just do that one. So this one never expires. This one, however, will expire in 4 years. So we should make sure to do that. That would be cool if we got plant flag on Minmus also, so we can just get them both as we go out there. Watch, as soon as I come back from Minmus, that one's going to be there, of course, right? Oh well, so let's head over to the assembly building and start construction on a spacecraft to go to Minmus. It's probably going to be a little different than the Mooner one. I want to have more, whatchamacallits, science juniors on there. Alright, you know what, before we do that, let's spend some science. We have 713, we might as well use it, right? I don't think I'll bother with this one, because again, that's space plane stuff, and I haven't even decided to build any space planes yet. I will, however, get this, because we can get the processing lab, and the ladder, and a thermometer. So we'll grab that one. We definitely want to grab this one so we can start getting more science stuff. The barometer, some ladders, which if we're going to head out to Duna anytime, we're going to need some actual legitimate ladders instead of just hopping up to a spacecraft. I definitely want to grab these boosters, the mainsail, and the orange tank. We'll grab that one. I think we can only do like one or two more. This is docking stuff. This is if you want to go grab asteroids. I haven't actually learned how to do that yet, so I'm not going to be using that one anytime soon. Again, more spaceplane stuff. And here's something we definitely want. This one has the larger SAS, the larger capsule. We can put a 3-man crew, as well as the lander can, which is pretty good. And we get some new engines here. the burner and the monopropellant engine, which I don't really see myself using anytime soon, but I definitely want these 4 items here, so we will grab that. Now, we don't have enough for any more. What's next is the micro ones, if you want to build like teeny tiny little probes, which again I never really do. I don't really see the point to building tiny probes. My KSP philosophy is go big or go home, so I don't really ever bother with this stuff. But eventually we will want to get this too, because we'll get more advanced photovoltaics, but for now we'll have to wait on that. But we did unlock 4 nice things, so let's go back. And now we'll head over to the assembly building. So this is what I've come up with to go to Minmus and do all that good stuff. So let's start at the very, very top. This is going to be our, I've titled it the Minmus Hopper. So this whole stage up here is the actual payload. Start at the very top. It's got one of these parachutes. I forget what it's called. It's the Mark 16 XL. So it's able to, it has a lot more drag than the other one. Then this one is the Mark 16 regular. Fully deployed drag fully deployed drag is 500 on that one. Fully deployed drag is 500 on this one. You know, I could swear though it's better. You know, anytime I like go to explain anything, I always end up being wrong. You know, but I tested it and it's fine. It's good. The point is, it's good enough for this top part when we finally come home. I know I said I was going to add more materials bay, but I just couldn't, like, get it together. So what I've done is just doubled up on goo. We have 4 goo containers, so we can get 4 times the goo. 1 materials bay, we'll figure out where we want that, probably landing somewhere on the Minmus. On the back here, we've got the barometer. Even though there's no atmosphere, we'll probably just use that on Kerbin, and we have a temperature scan, also use that on Kerbin. And this time I didn't forget the comm dish, so we can transfer that data back. I've also installed the flight engineer, some batteries and solar panels and all that good stuff. So this is essentially going to be our return craft with all that juicy data. This is going to be the lander with 2 radial engines, 1/2 gray fuel tank, and an SAS unit, 4 landing struts. That should be fine. I also put some lights because I know we're going to be jumping around. We'll probably end up in the dark side at some point. Alright, further down we have a similar stage with a Poodle engine to burn us out towards Minmus. And then down here we just have our standard launch vehicle. I opted not to go with the giant, huge, bomb-ass, what do you call it, boosters. I'm just going to go with these regular ones just to cut costs. The rocket is getting a bit pricey, and these are about twice as expensive as these ones. 8,000 Delta V, that should be enough to do everything we need. Because, you know, once we get to Minmus, we're barely going to have to make any sort of fuel adjustments. It's so, the gravity's so light there that any little touch of fuel and it just works. It goes a long way. And I've just installed some fins. Using the orange tanks with the mainsail engines, they're a little more expensive, but they will get us up there a little bit better, a little more efficiently. Or just a little better, I guess. I don't know about efficiently, but and that's it, folks. I did use the Separatrons this time because these orange tanks can be a bit scary when they separate. So let's see who's gonna go. Jeb orbited the moon. Bob landed on the moon. Let's get Bill. Bill is going to be our Minmus explorer today. So with that being said, let's go out to the launch pad. Alright, here we are on the launch pad. Bill Kerman's in the pilot seat. It is nighttime, so let's just do the same thing. Let's warp it up until we get a little bit more high. Alright, we're going to sunrise. It's a long night. Alright, ooh, there we are. Clouds rolling in. That's okay. Alright, so we'll hit the SAS, we'll hit the throttle up to about 2/3. Orbital and vessel info. And let's launch it in 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. So I'm going to go for the whole shebang on this one. Orbit, transmit from space around, land, and transmit from surface, all in one shot. The reason I felt like I couldn't do that for the moon is just we didn't have the tech at that point, I felt like, to do that stuff. But now we're pretty technologically advanced. We're getting up there, so I think it'll be much better this time around. A little easier to do it. I'm just going to throttle back just a touch. It might be that we need to use those big giant boosters, but for now I'll try it with these ones. So they're about to separate. There they go. We're just getting up there, way up there now. Man, that is so nice. That color is just like a blue to black fade. It's beautiful. Very, very pretty. And there's Minmus right there. That little speck. That's our destination. But first, we must do our gravity turns. We'll turn it just about like that. And again, I'm going to hit the Q key just to rotate the craft over like this. Having these fins on here is a drastic help. It is making all the difference. I'm just going to ramp it. Ooh, there goes that one. There they go. Hopefully we have enough fuel to finish the orbit and maybe start boosting out to Minmus with this stage. Oh, we're getting very high already. So I better turn this thing over. I forgot how powerful this engine is. We get a whopping 1500. It's fully throttled. Just gonna turn this thing right to the horizon. We're very high up. I'd rather get more sideways speed. Maybe just I'll point it at the prograde marker. Do it that way. Looks like we'll just be out of thrust. We have about 6 seconds of thrust left over in this engine, but we barely need anything. Probably just another couple hundred. Oh, we need 400. Wow. So that wasn't the best launch, but you know, it did the job. It got us there. So we'll end up using a little bit of the stage to get us to Minmus, just to finish the orbit, but that's okay. I think we'll be just fine. I figured we over budgeted so much fuel for the moon mission, and I just felt like it was such a waste. I didn't want to do that. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Dang it, forgot to do these things. Grabbed that one. And I bet you at the last second we grabbed it. You can't do it right now because we're not in the atmosphere. Maybe when we come back we'll grab that one. That sounds good. Alright. So all we have to do now is just wait until we get to our point. And it's saying burn's going to be 10 seconds. We'll make 6 seconds of that up. So we'll do, more than half the burn with whatever's left of this stage. Nice suborbital line right there, and let's just do it now. Do what we can with this stage. And that's empty. Here we go. There goes that one, flying away. And that actually works out better. This way that stage will not be orbiting forever. It'll eventually deorbit, and that'll be that. We won't have to worry about it creating space junk. So we'll just circularize. There we are. And that's how we do that. We have a solid 1,300 meters per second left in this stage, which is plenty of fuel to get us out to Minmus. My god, that looks nice. It never stops being amazing to me how nice this game looks, especially with this Astronomer's Pack. I'd probably say it once an episode, I just ogle at everything, but it's true. This is just mind-blowingly beautiful. Okay. So, let's see. The next thing we have to do is set Minmus. Oh, look at there's our 2 flags on the moon. That's cute. Set Minmus as the target. And Minmus is special because the orbit is not perfectly along the ecliptic plane. As you can see, it's inclined upwards and downwards. It's not perfectly straight like the moon's is. Pretty much on the ecliptic, they call that because it eclipses the sun. It's the same plane that the sun is on, or something like that. I'm sure there's a more exact scientific answer, but that's the way I understand it. It's the ecliptic because it eclipses the sun when it's across it. Or another way to call it is the equatorial orbit. It's a straight up zero inclination orbit. But so we have to change that. So how we do that is we are coming up on one of these nodes, the descending node. Now notice it says -5.5 degrees. So there's a 5.5 degree change that we're going to have to make. So we'll put a node there. And we're going to pull up, I believe, to match Minmus. Now once it swivels around, that's how you know it's good enough. There. And we could check 0.1. Let's just get it 0.3, so it's worse. Let's go back. I mean 0.1. There we go, 0. And you can see the orange dotted line now lines up pretty perfectly with that green line that Minmus' orbit. So you can see the change we have to do. It's going to cost us 200. That's okay, we have plenty. So we will just warp up to that spot. But first we should find what we're doing. I believe it's on the horizon here. It's south. Oh no, maybe it was north. Yep, it was north. Silly me. Oh, don't go too far. Here we are. So that's how you make an inclination change, basically, is you burn north or south. Roughly, it's usually like halfway between... It's usually where the orbit crosses the middle. So if this is our blue orbit, let's say you didn't have descending or ascending nodes, you would just line up that yellow one right around the center there, and right where it crosses the middle, that's where you put your movement node. That's where you make the change. But luckily we have these nice nodes to tell us where they are. See that? The game is very generous in that way. So you're just going to rotate around the planet until we get too close to that marker right now. I always do that. I always do that. I like time warp too fast and then I get a little far away from it, but that's okay. It's still gonna be alright. We're like still doing it right on that mark. Just keep it pointed at that reticle. And off we go. So we can just check it. -0.1. That's close enough. I'm not going to get it to 0. I mean, 0.1 is basically there. It's basically perfect. Okay. So, to get to Minmus, it's very similar to getting to the moon. You kind of want to burn somewhere, like if this is... Minmus is here, there's Kerbin, there's 90 degrees. You want to burn somewhere, cut it in half, something like that. So basically where we are right now is pretty much where you want to do it, but let's just see. And that's already telling us we have an encounter. Periapsis 600. This one's a little tougher to get just because the gravity is so light it barely captures you. It's a little tougher to get. Let's just see what we have. Minmus Periapsis 500. We'll probably have to adjust that. Ooh. we'll have to do some slight adjustments, but for now that's okay. It's going to take a minute to get there, and the node's already coming up on us, so we got to hurry up and find it. Nope, it's this way. There we are. So we are burning a little late for it, but it's still going to be okay. And we can always make little corrections as we go. So you can see now we're kind of pointed slightly upwards instead of straight across, and that's why, because we did that plane change maneuver. So now we're just boosting out along this inclined plane here towards that tiny, tiny little moon. Slowly getting there. It costs about 100 meters per second more, delta V, to reach Minmus than it does the moon, but once you get in orbit around Minmus, all your fuel problems are gone. You barely need to make any kind of burns. The burns are very quick and short, and they go a long way. And getting home is even easier, too. There is another YouTuber, a very popular one that makes a lot of Kerbal videos, that says beginners should try to go to Minmus first before going to the moon, just for that very reason, that once you get there it's easier to get around. But I don't entirely agree with that, just because I don't think a beginner wants to really deal with plane change maneuvers. Oh, we're getting out there quickly. So you can see we're a little off from where I thought we were, but that's, you know, that's okay. We still made it. We still have our encounter here. And it looks like we might be a little too far ahead of it. Honestly, we're going to be a little ahead of it, and so we're probably going to be going around Minmus the other way, clockwise instead of counterclockwise. But that's okay. It's not going to make a huge difference. You know, if you're going interplanetary, then yeah, it matters which side you're going around. But for like little missions like this to the moons, it's not so bad. Alright, let's just check the time. I think actually that's the end of one episode right there. I'm trying to do like 20, keep these videos close to 20 minutes. My original Kerbal videos were like a half hour, and I feel like it's just too much to handle in one video. So that's good, that's okay too. We can split these up into more videos, but there we are. We have about 19 seconds of burn left. That'll be just enough to hopefully close the orbit up around Minmus, and then we can get down to the surface in the next episode. Thanks for watching, everybody.